Hey, what you reading for?
Hey, what's up YouTube? Michael here, talking books, coming to you from Budapest, Hungary. Now, I have not posted in a while because I have been in the middle of a move. I've just moved here to Budapest for the fourth time. Fourth time's the charm, right? Isn't that how the expression goes? Top 10 books for weirdos. Not necessarily weird books, but books I think weirdos, or people who can appreciate off-kilter perspectives, these are books that I think people like that would appreciate. Let's skip the intro sequence, but don't skip hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Your support is what keeps the channel growing, and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Kicking off the list at number 10, Midnight Pleasures by Robert Bloch from 1987. This is a short story collection from the author most famous for Psycho. And this collection truly lives up to its name, Midnight Pleasures. It has the tongue firmly in cheek, it's over the top, and a gleeful celebration of the many expressions of horror. We have slasher, we have hard sci-fi, we have ghosts, the whole kit and bloody caboodle. At number 9, Disturb Not the Dream by Paula Trachtman from 1980. I love this book. It starts off with everyone getting brutally killed, and then it goes off into a gossip rag drama written in a Victorian era erotica style, and then in the final act, everyone gets brutally killed. Trigger warnings for everything. It is not a book that aims for subtlety. It is over the top, voyeuristic, sadistic even in parts. It's the Marquis de Sade meets V.C. Andrews in a slasher soap opera that has gone on to become a bit of a cult classic, though not talked about as often as it should be, I think, or at least not in polite society. Though, what would I know about polite society, right? At number 8, Dearest by Peter Lowran from 1984. A taxi driver in England, he has a problem with women. He thinks he has them all figured out. He thinks he has everything all figured out because his worldview is formed by simplistic absolutes. A folksy, antiquated common sense that is neither common, thankfully, nor sensical. He is not a guy I would ever want to meet, but I did thoroughly enjoy following his narration. And what he's narrating is the story of why he killed his wife and what he did with the body afterwards. And it's hilarious. I think it's dark too, obviously, but a book that I think weirdos would enjoy. At number 7, The Queen by Nick Cutter from 2024. Some weirdos might feel ostracized. They might feel like they are from another planet. I feel like that sometimes. Or they might feel like they are not exactly human. Human, but also a bit of something else, or a lot of something else. In The Queen, we have characters that I think weirdos can identify with, or at the least be compelled by. And in typical Nick Cutter fashion, there are a few scenes that are quite squirmish and make your skin crawl. Your writing is quite descriptive. There's some passages that are squeamish in The Queen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. My goodness, yes, especially the ants.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I gotta say, I get a real kick out of those type of scenes. And as to where they come from, I mean, you mentioned Barker. You know, Barker was quite descriptive for his day. You know, like James Herbert with the rats.
In The Queen, our young protagonist is delivered an iPhone. She then receives messages and then eventually phone calls from someone claiming to be her best friend who went missing a few months prior. And this supposed best friend sends our protagonist on some errands, and things get weird and messed up. At number 6, Elizabeth by Ken Greenhall from 1976. Now, I am displaying the original cover, which you'll see was published under the name Jessica Hamilton. However, due to the success of Ken Greenhall's follow-up to this book, Hellhound, the publisher would go on to publish later editions under the author's real name. Teenager Elizabeth is beginning to discover her sexuality. More precisely, she is discovering the power of her sexuality and how her sexuality can intimidate and frighten others around her. Elizabeth has a mirror, and when she looks into the mirror, she sees Frances, an older woman who claims to be Elizabeth's ancestor. She claims to have witchy powers, and she also claims that she can help Elizabeth discover her own witchy powers, which is great news for Elizabeth because then she can torment and potentially kill the irritating adults around her. A messed up kid surrounded by messed up adults. I don't know if Elizabeth has quite reached the cult classic status, but it should. It's a classic in my cult. Subscribe to the channel. At number 5, The Drive-In by Joe R. Lansdale from 1988. A group of friends, they go to a massive drive-in complex. They get stuck there because of some supernatural event. However, one of the friends remembers to bring some homemade beef jerky, which turns out to be quite helpful when the drive-in turns into a sort of post-apocalyptic cannibalistic hellscape. This is a short, well-paced, genre-bending romp. It's loads of fun. Don't eat the popcorn, though. At number 4, The Lonely Lands by Ramsey Campbell from 2023. Who said that weirdos can't experience emotions? I never said that weirdos can't experience emotions. I think weirdos, just like normies, can make deep emotional connections. They just make them in weirdo ways. Like the protagonist of The Lonely Lands, who believes that the way we remember our loved ones will affect or determine the kind of experience they have in the afterlife. This kind of magical thinking creates a tremendous weight on the shoulders of our protagonist. An inventive story, and one that I think is surprisingly emotionally impactful. At number 3, Brainchild by Andrew Niederman from 1981. I have a theory that weirdos are weirdos simply because they're exceedingly more intelligent than most of the people around them. And this disparity in intellects, it creates social awkwardness. It creates the weirdoification of certain sensitive and creative individuals, such as Lois, the protagonist of Brainchild. She is into behavioral psychology, and like the budding scientist that she is, she has theories that she wants to explore in controlled experiments, and she has the perfect test subjects, her own family. Brainchild is the tamest horror book on this list. It's not gory or violent, although it is psychologically messed up and good, campy fun, as we can come to expect from a book by Andrew Niederman. At number 2, Suffer the Children by John Saul from 1977. A little girl hosts a tea party with a corpse, a dead animal, and a kidnapped child. A man has blackout rage episodes, and in the context of this strange book, that does not set off any alarm bells. The tone is off in this book. Off, but in a charming way. It's as if the writer is not exactly human, but something that has been studying humans, but hasn't quite yet completely grasped the concept. It's a weird one, but a fun one too. And on my top 10 list of books for weirdos, it comes in at number 2. And coming in at number 1, a controversial selection, but I just love this book. And that is Mr. Be Gone by Clive Barker from 2007. Probably more fantasy than horror, with a bit of historical fiction as well. The book begins with the narrator imploring the reader to burn the book. Imploring the reader and then threatening the reader, then bribing and begging, burn the book. And the narrator, he does this because he is a demon who is trapped in the book and wants to be freed. Now, this is a divisive book. Readers are either on board with the premise or they are not, and you will find out quite quickly which camp you fall into. I love Clive Barker. I was on board with the premise from the start, and I had a blast with this book. 5 stars for me. Highly inventive, plenty of action, some gory action that Clive Barker is quite good at. I think that Weirdos are generally inventive, creative people, and this is an inventive, creative book, and it claims the top spot on my top 10 books for Weirdos. What do you think of my list? Do you have any experience with the books or authors I talked about in this video? I would love to hear about it. Also, do you know of a horror book that you think Weirdos would appreciate? Please tell us about it in the comment section. Hopefully we'll fill up the comment section with great and weird recommendations. Speaking of great and weird horror, I want to encourage you to check out my books as well. Edifice Complex, perhaps the most popular of my books. Karim, an Algerian immigrant in Paris, develops an erotic, obsessive relationship with a residential building set for demolition. The Quick and the Still, a recovering heroin addict infiltrates a cult of parasite worshippers so that he can save his necrophiliac lover. This is a weird one. It's like David Lynch meets David Cronenberg. And a few short story collections, links in the description box. Thank you for your support. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next video.